So welcome to this first free webinar, the live Q&A session with Jeff Cloud and myself, Matthew Patti. This is weekly, so we might move the time zones around a little bit to accommodate people in Europe, because I know that we do have the US and Aussie and New Zealand contingency right now. So it's going to be a great ride, really, really good. And so Jeff and I have been having a number of conversations over the last couple of months, and it really was just timely, wasn't it, Jeff? Just to get some information, get people together, get some collective activity going, really, in the marketplace, because we're all doing amazing things, each and every one of you out there. So, so what do you reckon? We just find out where everyone's from right now. So if you just type in, where are you taking this call right now? Let's see where you are.
Right.
Welcome, Peter. Just saw you landed as well. It's great. So Pete, California. Kathy, Melbourne. Big J, good to see you. Jason from Brisbane. And North Carolina. I won't even try to do accents. My wife and I spent 10 weeks through the States and we loved it, absolutely loved it. Bring it on. But, you know, terrible at accents. North Carolina, and then we've got sunny Waipu. Waipu is definitely need to get up on my New Zealand accent or my pronunciation there, Philip. Great to have you. Diana from Auckland, Tampa, Angelica, super good, super cool. So there's a big topic. We've got a huge topic, okay? So your soul purpose. Let's talk about that. So this is the umbrella conversation that we'll be having each and every week. But today's theme, we'll go deeper into, are you living your life's purpose? How's it manifesting in your life? How is it expressing itself through your words, deeds, your thoughts, words, and deeds? Okay. So Reno from Joel, great to see you as well, Joel. So let's just frame it up just a real quick 60 seconds each. Jeff, let's let everyone know that doesn't know who you are right now, just who you are, what you stand for, all those sorts of things. Just a little 60-second flyover.
Okay, thanks. Hey everybody, for those of you that don't know me, my name is Jeff Cloud. I grew up in the Midwest, was born and raised in Cincinnati, Ohio, was put into Catholic schools in the 2nd grade, was taught all kinds of separation from source from the get-go. Had kind of a traumatic experience when I was 7. My father was killed in a plane crash. So I grew up with my mom and 3 sisters. Had a couple stepfathers, ended up moving out on my own for a lot of different reasons when I was 16 years old. Got into music, sports, art, all kinds of great things, but really did not realize the programs that I was running at the time. I didn't have any concept really of conscious awareness. And it wasn't until I went through several relationships, was into drugs, all kinds of experimenting, doing things that people do to try and be happy, keep some pain down. Just got to the edge at one point, and very synchronistically, the book, The 4 Agreements, popped up in my field 2 times within a 30-day period. And
as it does.
Yeah, it was amazing. And it turns out that my mentor, Don Miguel Ruiz, the author of those books, ended up living in San Diego. So within about 1 to 2 months, I had reached out to him, contacted him, and I became his recording engineer and close apprentice for going on about 15 years now. And to say that he created an awakening for me would be a major understatement. So I've been following the work of the Toltec community since 2001. I just recently released my first book titled Waking Up in the Dream. And I've also created a Mastery of Awareness 6-week course, as well as some other shorter one-off calls and different packages for people that really are hungry like I was to really see behind the programming of what we were taught to believe and how to think. And it's fascinating when you get into it. I'll just end with this. I pretty much found out that most everything that I was taught from school and the media was a lie. It was not true. And I've
Bogus.
learned to flip every single thing 180 degrees around now. I believe nothing. My website's called The Source of Truth, and it's about you finding your own truth. It has nothing to do with my truth.
Yeah,
so that's a little bit about me. Anybody else that has questions, I'll be happy to answer them. Private message me, reach out, or we'll get to do it here over the weeks. I'm just really honored to be working with all of you and my amazing friend Matthew. I just hold him in the highest regard, and just going to be a really amazing journey. So thank you, Matthew.
Bless you. Thank you for a great intro. And I'm sure we could all relate in all, or at least in part, to what you've been through as well. I'll just give a very brief overview of my background, so you know who we are. We'd love, as Jeffrey was saying, over the next couple of weeks, is to get to know you guys a little bit more, because you are all leaders in the field of consciousness, healing, transformation. There's a movement that's been that you are birthing every single moment inside of you. So really my background, I spent 20 years in health, running companies, so creating companies. That's one of my passions. So, one of my quick, little turnaround is to create an idea and move it into the marketplace within 24 hours, and do it at really low cost. So that's just one little game that I like to play with myself. But I've always been interested in the spirituality side of life, the metaphysical, the unknown, the secrets, the occult, all those sort of things from a very young age. And similar to Jeff, we've all had some sort of religious experience or indoctrination, and it really, really started to unfold in my late teens, when I said, look, the world is literally my home. I'm not geographically located in one place. I'm located anywhere I move my intention or my awareness towards. And so over the next 20 years, I was a physiologist in working with surgeons and high-end clients and all the rest, and it was starting to grate towards the end of that time, really starting to grate against my soul, I could say, because it was a very physical structure. And if you can relate to this, certainly let me know, that it felt mundane. It was great work. I love being able to help these people and coordinate healing and recovery and health. But really, that piece of me, that spiritual, that high-level metaphysical side of me, was not being fed. Anyone else relate to that? And so really, it sounds a little cliche, but towards 2010, 2011, accelerating into the end of 2012, was a huge transformational change. And I, in my 2-day intensives and in other webinars that I hold, I often share a snippet of the story, which was one moment, one message, one meaning. And for that moment, I look in my mentor's eyes at that time, and there was a transference of energy and a transference of wisdom that took me well outside of what I then knew as reality. And so that just put me on this quest to say, let's build leaders. And so that was really the message. It was lead the light, lead the way. It was as simple as that. It came in one really pronounced, vigorous download, which lasted 3 months. So here's where we are, exploring consciousness as you and the experience of your soul in physical form. So thanks, Darlene. Yeah, I certainly can relate. So shall we get into it? Because we've got so much to cover. We're mindful of time. We're trying to keep these to about 45 to 60 minutes, which may be a little bit hard because what you guys all bring is energy to these calls. So essentially, we've got a collaboration of energy here that we can pick up on and move some information in alignment with your journey as well. So stick around to the end, because Jeff and I have got something to offer you. It's not a sales thing. None of these calls are sales orientated. They were just pure content rich question and answer format. So stick around to the end. And if you would like a copy of this recording, just let me know by just typing in yes, and we can get a recording out to you as well. That'd be great. So what do you reckon, Jeff? We're underway. Thank you, Jason.
Underway.
Excellent, Philippa. Good. Thanks, Randa. Good to see you. So Randa from Florida as well. And Kim, great to see you. So here's the big topic, as we mentioned, awakening your soul's purpose. So let's talk, well, let me ask you guys on the call, what do you feel your purpose is? Do you know what your purpose is? Just type in right now. Do you feel you have a purpose governed or directed by your soul, your higher self, your oversoul? If so, what is that? Because this particular subject opens up a can of worms depending on, which guru or teacher or rishi or master that you may listen to. Of course, the one inside of you is most important. So Kim, I'm too scattered. Well, there's clarity inside of the question. Yeah. To unleash the inspired voice of others, including myself. That's awesome, Pete. If you don't mind me calling you Peter, we do that down under. We do that in Australia. We truncate everyone. At least I'm not putting an O at the end, like pedo. Renew and reconnect people to enthusiasm for life. Nice one. Great to see you, Kerry Ann. Working on peaceful existence. Awesome. Tina, to assist others to open their innate gifts, especially children, the new kids on the block. Fantastic. So we got Jeff, yep, to uplift and inspire others through conscious awareness and assist them in living a life on purpose. So, Jeff, how do you see the soul innovating or communicating with us through purpose? What does that bring up for you in the work that you do with your people?
Such a great question. And the answer is obviously going to be different for everybody. For me, it was learning how to listen to that little voice inside, the intuition, and clearing out all of the stories that come up to basically keep us from listening to that.
Mm-hmm.
There's a quote that I love that says, "Your soul is truly unlimited, but you're addicted to the belief that it's not."
Addicted is the word, right?
It's just programming. It's when you're a little child, which is what I work with people to get back to when they're going, I'm not sure what my purpose is. And then the second part comes in, I don't know how to pull that off and still keep this sense of security, which is usually always false. No matter how much money you're making, what your job is, there is no security to be had except for the security within yourself of doing what moves you. So the goal is, the way I see it, to get back to being that little child. Because when you were a little child, you weren't going, I want to be a fireman. Oh shit, I can't do that. I don't have the money. There's no way I could ever pass the test of climbing 3 stories, any of this stuff. Children do not think of no's. They only use their pure imagination and they roll with it. Yeah. And so one of the things that I play with every day and in the people that I work with every week are getting back to that state, getting back to that yes state, and just removing everything that's in the way of listening to that voice. Because we've been taught just to push it down. It doesn't make sense in today's society with everything going on in the external world. Well, the external world, it's really, from my perspective, everything is backwards. People are pointing the finger on the external world as the source of why they can't do something, when everything is really, truly, when you break this down to science and quantum physics, it's all chemical reactions and lights happening inside your brain. There is no external. And that may rock some people because they go, what about my family? I love people. I love to touch people that I love. I love to pet my dog. Well, that's great. We do have vibrational things that we can play with in this 3D, 4D, 5D world, whatever you want to call it. I find that when one goes within, and anybody that knows anything about meditation or quieting the mind, when you get quiet and you listen to your heart and your soul's intuition, all the answers are there. Yes. I'm not saying anything profound that hasn't been said before, but I think with everybody that I work with, everybody only has like 3 of the same core beliefs that are stopping them. It's either I'm afraid, I'm not worthy, or the big one is I don't see every single step in how to get there. Until I do, I'm not going to jump because it's the great unknown.
That's
and that
a big one.
More people than anything. It's amazing. So
absolutely, because from, if you don't mind me jumping in on that, you've made some extraordinary points there, and let's just frame it that nothing is new. Nothing is new. Any information that is moved towards you, through you, into the world, is of a grand collective mind. So we all have access to that huge, massive, eternal resource. So as a soul, the soul sure decides upon lessons, in my view. But yes, we've got a layer cake. I often give the example of a layer cake. We get sediment building up over our soul. And secretly, or not so secretly, it's our journey to make our way home. And to make our way home is our purpose. If we reduce it all the way down to our way home is the purpose of this incarnation or this existence. And home is whatever you dream it to be. Love, abounding in love and benevolence and truth and freedom and all these sorts of creative expressions. So what you said, Jeff, is huge. That those 3 things that so many people have marketed, have shared, have done webinars on, or built courses out of to help unblock, free up the soul's expression through this physical incarnation. So, we can look at that, and this is what I bring up in the 2-day intensive that I do. You can look at those things, and we can spend time on those things, which means you're investing energy in that it's there, I'll unpick it, I'll unblock it, I'll go deeper because there's always deeper. Or you can move into a quantum state that says, my soul is eternal, it is limitless, it is expansive, and let's draw from that and let's make new from that information. Because at the end of the day, as a human body, we're essentially antennas, aren't we? So we are the receivers and transmitters of light and information. And if you look at information, it is in form. So you are bringing wisdom into form. So the soul plays an enormous role, and then how you live your purpose. So that maybe we can slip into that in a moment. How do you live your purpose? So right now, let's ask everyone, what was your biggest takeaway from that quick little share just then? What resounded, what popped up for you? Either drumming home what you already know and confirming, consolidating that, or something new. Just let us know. Good. So, so Veronica and Kathy, yep, definitely about gifts. That's a big one right there. Great to see you, Dawes. Clearing, seeing the block. Nice one, Renda. Good. Because, let's talk about it. Essentially, the soul is a magnificent, expansive form of energy or expression of energy, of God or the creator or the universe, whatever, the force, whatever terminology you want to use. So when it moves down through dimensional layers, it is asking and suggesting for truth, as you would say, Jeff. It's asking for truth to be manifest. And so, but collected in our physical being, within our aura or our energy fields and internally in the structure of our cells and within those, our DNA, are the little, binding sort of support cases, of doubt, of fear, of overwhelm, all those sorts of things. So this fourth dimensional reality, which is a whole new conversation, is actually filtering either in or it's filtering out truth that is coming from high levels of consciousness for you. Light as energy is a language, absolutely. Yeah. So clarity, good, Carrie Ann. made realize that I resist my calling. Nice one, Darlene. Good. And I could see your earlier comment as well. So you've had a couple of ahas already. We're all transmitters of what we choose to connect with. Yeah. So living your purpose. What does living your purpose look like? What does living your purpose look like? Just type that in. So Jeff, what do you see typically in form, in action with the people that you work with, you know, when they're living their purpose? What are they experiencing or expressing?
I would say it's clearing out all the chatter that keeps them from doing exactly what that voice inside keeps screaming to do. The external world a lot of the time tells them that that's not the way to go about it. It's not the way to do it. And so it takes a little bit of bravery to go against the grain, but yet it's much more painful to not do that which your heart and soul is calling you to do. And I find that that's when the doors completely open up for everybody.
Yes.
You just step in and say, I don't care what other people think. This is my dream. I have respect for the world and everybody that I'm connected to. But it's very important for my growth and my happiness to follow my personal calling and to align with people that support that. And so what happens is, in a lot of cases, as many of you know, certain people will come in and out of your lives when you start making these choices, because it's going to inspire a lot of people, and it's also going to push a lot of people's buttons, because if people are comfortable with you, they're a lot of times not comfortable with you getting bigger than what they've defined you to be. And it can make them very uncomfortable. So there's ways to bring them along when you have that awareness, but some people would rather stay in their story, I find, than really step out, because you open yourself up sometimes. But then again, you open yourself up, which is the whole, it's like a lotus flower. It's like why we're here. So.
Yeah, it's beautiful. Absolutely. So resistance actually brings in torsion, or brings in, light is diluted when you find that there is resistance. So right now, just type in what's one resistance that you're experiencing in living or desiring to live your life purpose. Not thinking about what is your life purpose right now, but what's one resistance that you are currently experiencing in living your life purpose. And we've got some great feedback there. So we'll get through that in a minute. Because the big thing here, I mean, as you said, Jeff, that, you know, we pick up breadcrumbs along the way. We pick up dirt in our heels, you know, and so the bigness that we imagine ourselves or desire ourselves to move into, the expansive self, that actually shows others what they're capable of. And the resistance that they're experiencing or expressing or transmitting towards you, it's being picked up by your energy system, and it's challenging your energy system to hold the vibration for the self. So when they hold the vibration for the self, you are honoring the other person at the same time, because everyone has their own lessons, right? So when we reduce our light in favor of, or being small, playing small, then we're actually denying the light and source potential in another. Sounds a bit hard, but essentially that's what we're doing. So for you to be big, for you to be into your normal state, your expansive state, it's not new, it's a return. It's a remembering. It's a return to expansion. It's not a new experience. It feels new because you've got layers of mental programming and a layer of consciousness that says, new feels scary. I haven't been there before. So can I suggest that you actually have? And so, you know, it's finding your way back to that. So let's, Jeffy, do you mind reading through a couple of these things here?
I just want to say I'm really just blown away by the level of the people on this call.
Yeah.
You're showing up with the most honest and authentic responses here. And it just really moves me. I mean, it's like people are really showing up, and I mean, I see so many honest things here about, resistance of letting go of what others think, both the good and the not so good from Peter. It's balance and being at peace, clear focus, getting in my own way from Doors, being at one with peace from Steph. My main resistance, Kim is saying, is that I don't know what it is I'm meant to do, what my core message is. This is a big one.
Yeah.
It's such a great, honest answer too, because that's what's going to help you get clarity on that. And man, I don't know which one to tackle. I could go into any of these.
Well, let's jump straight on. I think Lise was one. There was a couple of others similar. It's I'm holding myself back. Okay, so great. Can we suggest something there that's like you getting in your own way is what I like to call a Girl Guide or a Boy Scout badge. It's just an identity. It's a label I've placed upon my perception. So it's not actually you, because you are not you. You are far greater than that. So the identity of you are getting in your way means that we're actually identifying ourselves as the block, as the trauma, as the obstacle. But you are not the obstacle. You are not the block. You are not the trauma. That's not who you really are. Yeah. So first and foremost is let's move this down so that we can go up. And when we move it down we crystallize it, we make it simpler. So in all the conversations you and I have had, Jeff, we can talk to the ends of the ocean about anything. But when we reduce it down, it's so simple. Soul's expression is simple. Yeah. And so simplicity or abundance in simplicity. So I'd like you to write that down, everyone. Abundance in simplicity. So when you're thinking about a marketing message with the work that I do, basically growing leaders in the fields of consciousness, building prosperous transformational businesses, it's always simple, but we want to overcomplicate it. And the complexity means we're smart, or the complexity brings up a challenge for us. If I make it more complex and I create more of a weave and an entanglement of information, then I'm actually giving myself permission to either create an obstacle that wasn't there to begin with, or to make it harder than it actually is. Does that make sense for everyone? So, we've got some things here. Main resistance is exactly what my purpose is. Letting go of others is not the problem if the right people are coming into my life. Yeah, and look, this is what, Jeff, you said before. When you trust, it is a leap of faith. Some may call it a quantum leap, but when you put one foot in front of the other, it's the 1 inch rule. Those that know me know I bring that up quite a bit. 1 inch. Make the leap into one new moment, which says my soul's purpose is not new. It's actually who I am. And so if you understand for a moment that you are not the obstacle, you are not the problem, you are not the issue, you are not the karma, you are not the lineage, you are not the family dispute, you are not the baggage, you are none of these things. So if we first assume an awareness around that you are not that identity, then you can start to free yourself up a little bit more. Yeah. What do you reckon, Jeff?
I just love listening to you.
And you.
There's just so much wisdom and so much great energy on this call. It's really about listening to that voice inside. Yes. And clearing out all the stories. And I find that for me usually only happens when I'm getting quiet. Mm-hmm. So I recommend everybody that I work with, to my friends, family, that they take time in the morning as soon as they wake up. As soon as you open your eyes and realize that you've just come out of what we call the sleeping dream, and they could be flip-flopped. That dream could actually be the real dream. I don't really know. I just play in both of them. But as soon as I open my eyes in the morning, I immediately go within, take some deep breaths, and create my day with part of a meditation and then part of a visualization, or I speak to myself from my heart and my soul. Because I find that if I don't, immediately the horses start running. It's everything about, what do I have to do immediately? All this stuff I have to do today. It immediately takes you out of your peaceful state for the most part. I'm not saying for everybody. We all have different rituals, but it's just so important to do that. And the only way that I find that I can really come up with great clarity is to constantly get quiet. So I do that in the morning as soon as I wake up, and I do my best to do it before I go to sleep. And that basically just kind of clears all the clutter out and lets me start with a clean slate. And that's when all of my best ideas come in. I wrote the entire book, for the most part, waking up in the dream, actually waking up at like 3 in the morning. I would wake up between 3 or 4 in the morning. And at first, because I never had an idea to write a book ever, never in my life up until 2 years ago did I ever have one idea to write a book. And I just started waking up with this clarity. And at first I was like, okay, I'll remember that in the morning. I'll get up out of bed and type it when I get up. And then the next morning I would be like, man, I know I had something good last night, but I can only remember maybe a piece of it or not any of it. So I started forcing myself to get up, get out of bed, turn on the light, computer screen would come on super bright, burn the cones right out of my eye sockets. And I'd sit there and just type in what I could, the main idea, 1 or 2 sentences or a paragraph. That's how the whole thing came together, I mean. And getting quiet, I don't want to use the word stress. I'm not into words like that. I cannot invite people enough to take that time in the morning and the evening to get quiet, because in today's world, with all this internet, there is more chatter and ways to distract yourselves than ever before. I have my little rules for Facebook, because I coach in 2 different men's groups during the week for the Powerful Man. I have other clients, and then I have people all around the world that I want to keep in contact with, plus my music and art projects. And I'll figure I'm just going to go on for a little bit. Next thing I know, I look at my watch, and I want to give everybody love and feedback, not just a like. I want to respond to people and let them know that I'm there for them. And I just have to pull back, because I can eat up days, as we all can, doing that. So really, I guess to sum it all up, really getting quiet and tuning in to that voice inside you is it's the most important thing ever. It is your connection to your soul.
Absolutely. And that's actually leads to the next point that I'd like to make. And I know that some of you have commented, courageously around this subject, which is worrying or being concerned about the permission of others to shine, for you to shine. So who can relate to that? That you're worried what other people will think. You're worried that you're going to leave people behind. You're worrying that by expanding or, stepping into your full power, your full present state, that you're disadvantaging the evolution, the growth, the journey of another. Yeah. Sure, there's a few of you, and I'm sure there's more people out there, lots more. So this is one of the biggest, this is the tripwire that keeps us separated, and that's the ultimate illusion. So for us to make our way home, that's our real purpose, to make our way home. But in making our way home, one of the biggest lessons to realize and then to integrate, because you can know something. We all know someone that says, I know that. But wisdom does not express itself through the egoic sense of knowing. So when we find you get to that place where you integrate, there is no separation. I am Jeff, Jeff is me, I am every single person on this call, and every single person on this call is Jeff and I. And so, we just manifest an expression of creation differently so that there is variety, so that there is contrast. So when you actually say, I can't because of another, verbally or to the self, held within the cells of your body and your consciousness, as I said before, you're actually denying someone else a learning, but greatly, you're actually acknowledging the illusion of separation. Because if I do something and they can't, or I become bigger and they go smaller, or I feel I need to be dragged back down, whatever the language is, you are engaging in the illusion of separation. And so most people, well, I shouldn't say most people, there's a great percentage of people waking up, and the awakening process, as I'm sure you could understand, and I'd love to hear who has had this experience. It feels very restless. It feels sometimes traumatic. It feels, almost a deconstruction of the life before it is reconstructed and rebuilt anew. Anyone else felt like that? So to awaken means to engage freedom. To awaken is to stand fully in acknowledgement and view of the truth. Now, the truth may set you free, but as the meme goes, it'll hurt like a bitch first, something like that. Okay, so that's one thing that I can hear in what Jeff's sharing, and I know you're all very powerful healers, leaders on the call. That's one thing that you can do. You can bring your energy back in. You can unhook consciously through the intention, unhook the tentacles of desire, the illusion of separateness from yourself, and move the energy from inside of you out into the world. Yeah. Because quite often we find we've got the burning, the itchy, the restlessness. Some people might go to the doctor for that, Kathy, but the burning, the waking up in the middle of the night, the craziness going on. The big thing here is being in full permission of your greatness means you honor every single soul, every other soul. When you honor the self, you honor another. When you dishonor the self, you dishonor another. So it doesn't matter what relationship you're in, what financial situation you're in, whatever it is. As Jeff, you pointed out so beautifully. I'd love to do a whole topic on this. You know how passionate I am on this, which is about creator consciousness, moving energy out of you, because the outside is the illusion, but we govern ourselves based on this illusionary view of the world. And so we receive cues as to what to do next rather than giving our intention as to what we are going to do next. Yeah. So I walked away from almost everything that defines me last year, says Kim. It was terrifying, yet at the same time exhilarating. Yeah. Steph, absolutely something akin to going through grief process. Yes. Bit like falling apart, says Dawes. Uncomfortable at times, says Tina. Yeah. That ordinary life where we do things we are supposed to. So creation, alignment stops. If I don't meditate, I get lost and disconnected. Yeah. Meditation could be movement for some people. It doesn't have to be sitting still in the lotus, closed eyes for 45 minutes or an hour. It doesn't have to be that. Does it, Jeff?
Moment to moment.
Yeah. What do I choose now?
So much great feedback on here from everybody. What an incredible group of people.
Yeah, it's awesome.
I'm really blown away. And
should we ask some questions?
Yeah, that'd be great.
If you've got a question, just type a capital Q and type your question in, and we'll see how many we can get through in the time we have. So Tina says, creative projects helps me to get out of my mind. Good. Yeah. Out of the mind into the heart. The heart has an enormous array of energy. Electromagnetic forces that are emitted from the heart, 100,000 times greater, as you'll see with some of the research online, than the brain. So if you have a question, Capital Q and type a question in. Yes, V. Yeah, totally. Dedication to one's soul truth is a painful truth, and part of the evolutionary process, because returning home can be pain. And so, the hero's journey, if you've read the hero's journey, then you will understand that there's all these trials to go through. These acclaims, and then you get ridiculed. And it comes back to that statement that's a master is never such in his or her hometown, because you need to leave your home environment to venture into the world, to expand, so that you can bring back the riches of wisdom. Yeah. So we stick around trying to solve everyone's problems, thinking I need to lift everyone up. Meanwhile, all you're doing is choking on the backsides of others. It's a gross concept, but hey. So Kim, great. How do you get past that expectation that you need to wait for the aha moment where inspiration hits you, and you know with total conviction what your passion is? I know that's what I'm waiting for. What would you say to that, Jeff? That's a great question, Kim.
It's such a great question, and thank you for that, Kim. What's the best way to answer that? The mind always wants to know, I think I touched on this earlier, every step to get to whatever you think the destination is. And that's thinking in the future, which kind of pulls you out of your natural state right away. And again, there's a powerful word in there in the first sentence of your question. It says, how do you get past that expectation that you need?
Nice one.
I just got that. That was like, boom. Wow. I think one of the ways that you could dial in on this would be to do some journaling. Because right now there's a lot of mind. That's a pretty mind. You could call it mindful, but it's more mind than mindful. Generally, we talk about mindful as kind of an awake question. Not that this isn't awake, but my point is dropping into your heart with this stuff. It's like, what is your heart and soul telling you? There must be a message that comes up. And most of the time, or a lot of the time, that message is squashed by the expectations of the world, other people around us, society, what we're supposed to do to be safe. Work a 9-to-5 job until you're 50 or 60 years old, and then hope that you can start to live your life. I mean, that's old school. And there's nothing wrong with that. If somebody's doing that, you're raising a family, you're doing something that you love, or you're contributing in your own way. The problem comes up is when we're squashing our own soul's calling. So I encourage people to do some free-form journaling every day when they wake up. And don't edit it. The mind wants to go in and edit everything. The key is to drop into your heart as if you were a little child. What would I be doing if there were no stories or excuses? Boom. And an exercise that I do with a lot of people is, I would like you to respond in 1 second. The mind tends to want to think, okay, what's the best answer that I can give right now? What's the safest? How do I have my ducks lined up in a row to justify what I'm going to say right now? This is not the way a child with an imagination that's unlimited operates. So the key is, for me, one of them is to get back to having the enthusiasm of a little child. And a lot of ways that I do that is by journaling and taking people through exercises where you're dropping into your heart and really not editing everything, because we tend to edit so much now. We wear these masks and we justify why we're saying something, why we're doing something. The heart never needs to do that. It just knows what it feels and what it wants to do. So I encourage anybody to really, and I I do this repeatedly every single day. I notice if I'm in my head, and I just immediately drop back into my heart, and I become present. And every time I have a thought that is a doubt, a fear, a worry, a judgment, a less than, I immediately catch it, and I come back and I replace it with the most loving, real, true thought about me. This doesn't mean that you're not listening to other things that need to be addressed in your life, such as patterns or traumas or things that you may keep cycling on and creating in your life. But I found for me, every single thought is energetic. And if you've got 2 golden scales here, which one do you want to fill up? You want to fill up the one that has the most loving, supportive thoughts for you. And it's not BS. Your ego might go, well, you're just saying that because your coach told you to say that until you can really start doing it. Yeah. The more energy that you put on it, it doesn't matter if you're completely owning it in the beginning. The program can be so deep sometimes that, yes, it takes moment by moment awareness to keep coming back and giving yourself that self-love and support. You would never talk to a child, nobody on this call would, the way that we tend to talk to ourselves sometimes.
Yes.
We're very brutal with ourselves a lot of times, with our judgments and our old programming. So I just invite everybody to, you don't really have to have expectations. It's more of following a fuel, a desire from the heart and tuning into that. And again, I just really recommend journaling or getting together with somebody, a coach or somebody that can really be a great mirror for you, that knows how to ask the right questions, create a safe space for you, and help you get some clarity and take baby steps. Because again, I'll end with this. We tend to want to see every single step in its completion to feel like it's safe to take that journey to go where that little seed of our intuition is inviting us to go. And that's the trap that keeps us from getting there every time. Just taking one little step. And you'll go down an alley and you'll know if that's not the right alley, then you come back and you go down the next alley. But if you're taking tiny steps and moving forward, you're eventually going to get there.
Yeah.
If you stay frozen, you're going to remain very frustrated and you're not going to live out that soul's calling.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It is one foot in front of the other. And you're not meant to see around corners yet until you bring this energy into yourself, which then you can start to dial into the quantum field and you can co-create, because that's the other aspect of your soul's purpose, to return home, and in returning home to grace, to purity, to wholeness, to expansiveness, eternality, all these things, you are a creator, 100% a creator. So while you're waiting for your ducks to line up in the row, I love what you said, Jeff, while you're waiting for it, life is passing you by. And so as resistance builds, apathy can enter and say, well, I'll just give up. But most people on this journey now, including potentially those people, you guys on the call, you're done with waiting. But secretly, expectation is a waiting game. So get rid of time and be now. So if you get rid of time, expectation comes with, is it good enough? Will it work? What other things are required? All these things that Jeff was saying as well. And come back to your writing, but come back inside of the self. And when you come back inside of the self to a single point of origin, and we don't have a lot of time to go into that in this call, but a single point, and rebirth yourself every moment from a single point, a single desire to experience. So if you come back to a singularity, a single point of light, a single point of energy, whatever it may be, move your intention into the field, regardless of expectation, because expectation is a box. Yeah. So to get rid of the box, create a point of light. Yeah, and a point of light is a starting basis. Yeah. So, man, we've gone. Thank you. That's really good, Kim. Glad you got lots of value from that. So, Tina, when times are hectic, busy, that's when I have the hardest time to stay in non-reactive state. Good. When someone triggers me, what practice do you use to remember to stay balanced? Well, from that perspective, I would come back into self first. Is this my shit? Of course, if you're reacting to it, it is. But someone else's, you can reframe it. Come back to a single point of origin, and say, what would I like to experience now? And if you're frustrated and busy and you actually don't know because your energy is depleted, and when energy is depleted, clarity goes out the window as well. You probably have noticed that, some of you. You get a little bit monocular and, a bit conjunctivitis-y in the eye. You can't really see too well. It's like, was it something about Mary? I won't talk about that movie, but, was it that movie or something else? But so come back to a single point, and you are a single powerful point, and then birth what you would like to experience. So abundance in simplicity. If you make it a big practice, it's got to be ritualized. It's got to have this, this, and this. Chances are when you're busy, you're not going to do it. So come back and practice a single point of origin that you can rebirth. You can create yourself anytime you desire, which means every moment, should you desire it, should you be consciously aware of it. Yeah. You're so graphic. Oh,
could I share one thing on that real quickly?
Yeah,
for Tina?
Go for it. Yeah.
I'm really big on dialing in on these triggers, because I used to be the most judgmental person on the planet. And it wasn't because I wanted to judge things. It was because I was focusing and pointing out everything that was wrong because I wanted it to be right. What that did was just created a big, massive cycle of total judgment and feeding that which I didn't want to see. So I've done a lot of work on triggers, and there's a lot about it in my book. And Tina has such a great question. So the practice that I do every single day and that I share with people is, you basically got about 1 split second when you get triggered. Mm-hmm. The key is to notice it and immediately take a breath. If you respond to that trigger, the ego mind is going to start running a story, and that story is going to start gaining momentum like a big snowball going down a hill. If you take a breath and realize, I just got triggered based on an old pattern or memory. It has nothing to do with the present moment right now. Unless somebody's physically abusing you or assaulting you, everything is a product of your mind and your memory. Mm-hmm. Nobody should be able to trigger you. And I'm not saying, okay, you hear about somebody that's murdering people or doing something horrible to children. I understand all that. I'm talking about the basic triggers and judgments that pop up every single day with us. And to realize these, take a breath, 1 second. And just taking that breath and letting it out and smiling and going, oh, good one. I just got triggered again. You just immediately diffused the whole frickin' thing. Your ego can go back to it if you want to chew on it and bite on it for a while, but I can guarantee you the flavor and the taste is not going to be very fulfilling. It's not non-GMO, so to say. That's right. And so I think that's such a great question, Tina. And I just love you so much. You're such an amazing light, and you always bring so much awareness and love to the table. So thank you for that. Beautiful. I hope that helps.
Fantastic. So we're running pretty close to the hour right now. So let's just do a really quick share. What's one thing in this second segment here, or this segment that's moved you, that's moved to the surface in your into your consciousness? What have you taken away from the last couple of conversations we've had? Just type in and let us know. Baby steps. Nice one, Kim. That the soul's purpose is to return home. It's to create. It's to experience. And you can be anything. You can do anything. So everyone is a healer. Everyone has super sensory capabilities. Some people just don't, haven't got it planned or destined in this incarnation as part of their mandate or part of their blueprint. Okay. So when you think about, am I a healer? Am I a light worker? Do I start a business? Do I start a hobby? Do I do this sort of thing? You are everything. And what you choose in this moment, similar to what Jeff was saying, what you choose is what you can experience. Yeah. I can, whatever. Yeah. Return to the point of light, create from there. Nice one, Diana. Yeah. What else? What other feedback have you got? What's hit home for you? Choking on the backsides of others in fear of the unknown. I thought you'd like that, Jason. Expectations are a box. Absolutely. Abundance and simplicity. Love it. So, love you guys. Makes so much sense. And thank you. Truly beautiful. Thank you, Carrie-Anne. Thank you. Beautiful. So breathe. Yes, Steph. The absolute feeling of connection to you all. Nice one, Doors.
And Peter, remember to breathe as soon as I get triggered. That is one of the most powerful tools of awareness that anybody can ever use. Noticing it. Sometimes, as Don Jose Ruiz would say, he talks to the ego, he goes, good one. You almost had me.
Yeah, good.
Into love, into your heart. Good one. You got me. Just smile. Yeah. Smiling, that's the second part of breathing. When you get triggered, taking a deep breath. And then if you smile, smiling automatically opens your heart. So the combination of a breath and a smile, it just cuts all that tension and all that energy that tends for me to be in my solar plexus, that tightening, that contracting. I just go, oh, I did that again. Dang it. Okay, I'm happy right now. And just rinse and repeat.
Nice one. So we got, that was a well appreciated gift. Thank you, says Randa. Excellent. You're most welcome. Thank you for your presence too. Letting go of old blocking patterns so that we are not our blocks. Get rid of identity. Get rid of the identification and labels we give to the conversations that are had in the marketplace. Okay. Abundance and simplicity. Thank you, Tina. That's great. So look, here's what we'd like to do. If I'm just going to bring up the screen for a minute. If you are interested, if you would like to have a conversation, let's say 15, 20 minutes, really power-packed, straight to the point, what's going on in your life, then Jeff and I would love to spend some time with you. So you can see on the screen here that you can register with myself or you can register with Jeff or both. It does not matter, okay? But bring to the session the intention to dial up or increase the clarity that you wish to experience, you wish to create in your life, your purpose, your gifts, your next action steps. So if that's of interest to you, then just write down or take a screenshot of that, that slide there so that you can, I think there's enough spaces over the next couple of weeks for both of us anyway. So this is on offer, totally complimentary as our gift to you. So Jeff, what do you think we just close out the call right now in holding a vibrational field, a collective vibrational field, moving your own energy, our energy into the world as a blessing? How would you feel about that?
Nice.
Should we do that? Given there's been some recent events overnight and around the world. So let's not dial into the tragedy or the torment or the drama. Let's dial in to being a creator of our own reality and reality that we can bring lots of light to. Is everyone up for that?
Yeah, and I would say there's so much power in numbers, as everybody knows here. We've got such a powerful group wherever two or more are gathered. So is it okay, Matthew, if we just focus everybody on one collective vision, and then you can branch out from there? So my idea for that vision would just be just seeing world peace, people joining together on the planet in massive numbers as this awakening, which we can all feel is happening at a rapid rate right now. And our thoughts, our energies, they're going out into the world, and they're so powerful that just spending even a minute doing this could have enormous effects.
Beautiful, beautiful. So let's just hold that intention. It is birthed from you. Peace inside of you is emitted to peace in the world. All right, so let's hold a minute of that. Blessings. Thank you, everyone. Good. Nice one. All right. Well, look, we are just at the top of the hour. Thank you so much for your energy, each and every one of you. We're doing this every single week. The invitation is open to everyone to come onto these calls. The overarching theme is awakening, or awaken your soul's purpose. Today was talking about your life purpose. So we can go into lots of different rabbit holes. Bring your questions, bring your intention, bring your love for yourself, and watch the world around you shine and evolve. So Jeff, any parting words?
Yeah, just really like to honor and thank everybody for showing up. There's so many different things we can be doing in our lives. Not only did you take the time to register and respond on the Facebook pages, but you actually showed up for you, for us, and for the collective. And I just want to say, some of you may not be familiar with the Zoom rooms. As soon as we end the Zoom room, the links for these free breakthrough calls are going to go away. So we can repost those in the group. And I believe that we're going to be creating a private group for these calls. I'm not sure how that's going to work yet, but if you'd like to have a call with either Matthew or I, there's 2 links in this feed right now that you can copy and paste. Or if you go down to where you can send a message to anybody, there's a more button with a drop-down arrow, and it says save chat. Yeah. And that will save the entire chat so you can have this information. But if you don't get it and you want to connect with either one of us for one of these free complimentary calls, just reach out to us or send us a private message on one of the pages.
That's awesome.
All of you.
Absolutely awesome. So thank you, Angelica. Thank you, Awaken Your Soul Purpose, whoever that one is. Diana, Dawes, Jody, Joel, Kathy, Kerry Ann, Kim, Lisa, Lou, great to have you, Darlene, Peter, Philippa, Randa, Tina, and Veronica. Thank you very much for your energy. And of course, Jeff, it's the first of many to come. So yeah, thank you for your grace and light, man. Very, very appreciative. Have a phenomenal day, everyone. Big love. Travel light. Bye now.